A family of 4 people is traveling on their private boat in the Caribbean Sea to celebrate the birthday of the youngest son, Ben. His father, Tom, who works studying the oceans, is teaching Ben to fish, while his mother, Julia, who is a doctor, and sister Cassie are sunbathing. Julia decides to take a dive in the water. After a while, she feels that there's something strange about the water, but can't say what it is. The boat's compass isn't working properly, but no one is nearby to see this. Suddenly, Julia feels the water carrying her away from the boat. She becomes desperate as she tries to swim back, but continues drifting away. Julia screams for help, but no one hears. Soon after, Tom hears a noise and goes to check the boat. He sees Julia drowning and tells Cassie and Ben to get in. Then he drives the boat toward Julia, who is almost drowning, and jumps in the water to save her. After Tom saves her, Ben and Cassie help Julia get back on the boat. Julia explains to the family that she couldn't reach the boat even swimming with all her strength because the water was pulling very hard. Tom warns Julia and the children that if they want to swim again, they always need to talk to him first. Hey, what would you do if the ocean disappeared completely? The movie I'm going to summarize is called Survive. It's a very good French film. I have several French movie summaries here on the channel, and all the French movies I've watched, none disappointed me, and this one was no different. It's a movie that mixes action, adventure, and suspense. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a like to receive the best recaps. That night, the family celebrates Ben's 13th birthday. Tom and Julia give him a new computer, and Cassie gives him a mask to use on Halloween. Julia also gives Ben a bracelet that they say protects against bad things. The family takes a photo all together. Then, Cassie's boyfriend calls her, and she goes outside to talk to him. But before they can talk for long, a sinister storm starts where her boyfriend is, and the call drops. Cassie tells her father what happened, and Ben hears something outside. The whole family goes to see what it is and finds many whales in the water. Tom says this is normal and happens sometimes. But when the whales start pushing the boat away, even Tom becomes confused. Tom then decides to dive to see what's happening. He goes underwater and comes back after a minute, injured because he cut himself on the boat's propeller after seeing something behind him. Julia stitches Tom's wounds, and he tells her that the propellers are broken. Since he can't fix them, the only thing they can do is ask for help. Later, Julia and Tom try to talk to someone on the radio, while Cassie tries to get signal on her cell phone, but no one succeeds. After a while, they hear loud noises and go out to sea. Tom is frightened to see things falling from the sky and making damage on contact with water, and one of them is coming straight toward them. He uses the last bit of engine power to turn the boat away from the falling thing, just before the engine explodes. This quick action saves the family from being hit while they watch the things falling. Tom realizes they are satellites falling from space. But with the broken engine, Tom and his family can't go anywhere. Soon the boat starts moving because the waves are getting stronger with the impact of the meteors, so the family ties everything down and puts on their life jackets. Suddenly, a very sharp noise makes Julia's nose bleed and makes Cassie vomit. The whole family feels the effect of this sound. Tom uses his last strength to light a flare, hoping someone will see it and come help. But no one appears, causing the whole family to faint. In the morning, when they wake up, they discover that the boat is full of holes, and when they go outside, they see they're not on solid ground. Everyone is shocked to see they're at the bottom of the ocean. Tom tries to talk to other people, asking for help. When he looks at his compass, it points north where it should be south and south where it should be north, as if the poles had switched places. In other words, the ocean became land, and the land became ocean. Tom explains that this happened almost 1 million years ago, when the ocean became land and killed almost everything. Cassie starts crying when she understands this means her boyfriend probably died. She goes inside the boat, crying while looking at her boyfriend's photo. Then, Tom tries to talk to someone on the radio, while Ben hangs balloons up high, hoping someone will see them. Tom manages to talk to a person called Now, who is in a small submarine. Now explains that they were diving deep when the ocean dried up and that almost no one can communicate now. Now says that in a week the poles will switch again and the ocean will return to normal. Ben asks how many people fit in the submarine, and Now answers that only 3 people fit. Since his partner died, he can only take 2 more people. Tom and Julia beg now to take their children and save them. After being quiet for a while, now accepts and says where he is. Tom calculates the distance and sees they are 2 or 3 days' walk away. The next day, the whole family packs things for the trip. While Tom prepares, he sees a man coming toward him with a dog. Tom takes a bottle of water and goes to the man. The man, with a frightening look, speaking something strange, drinks the water, and Tom sees he is injured. Suddenly, the man hits Tom with the bottle and starts beating him. Julia sees from afar and tries to run there. The man then kills Tom with a spear. He turns to Julia and chases her to the boat. Then he throws the spear, injuring her shoulder, but she manages to get on the boat and lock the door. Julia hides the frightened children under the sofa, which also serves as storage, and gives the flare gun to Cassie, telling her to shoot if anyone tries to open the sofa without being her. Julia hides in the bathroom, but the man breaks down the door. She quickly tends to her wounds while the man, who seems very hungry, eats everything he finds. Then the man opens the bathroom door, but finds no one inside. Julia escaped through a hole to the outside. The man's dog finds her and attacks. Julia is forced to kill the dog and continues running. The man comes out and sees his dead dog. Julia then runs back to the boat, but the man is right behind her. He hits her and starts squeezing her neck. But Cassie, seeing everything frightened, shoots the man with the flare gun. The flare starts a fire and the family runs outside. Julia goes back to get food, the map and water. The man tries to grab her, but this time she manages to escape. The family cries near Tom's body, but soon has to run again because the man is still alive and goes after them. After walking a lot, they stop to rest, but Ben doesn't want to drink water. Cassie asks if the man came after them because he saw the balloons that Ben put up. Julia tells Cassie to stop thinking like that and tells Ben it's not his fault. The family continues walking with the man, always behind them. Later, Ben gets distracted looking at dead sharks when Julia notices the man is nearby. They quickly flee from him and arrive near a place with toxic waste. They climb a mountain and stop to rest. Julia gives Ben the rest of the water from a bottle, but gets confused because the bottle was full. Cassie thinks she left it open, and Julia gets very angry since there's no way to survive without water. Cassie also gets angry, saying they're going to die anyway, and that one bottle of water won't make a difference. The two fight for a while until they decide to continue walking. Then the family finds a crashed plane and decides to enter it. Julia opens the door and everyone rests inside. There, Julia finds the last photo they took together and cries because she misses Tom. She tells the children how she met Tom and that he always said every problem has a solution. After resting a bit, Cassie goes out and sits alone near the plane to relieve herself. The man sees her and goes to kill her, but it's a trap. Julia suddenly appears and kills the man with several stab wounds. In the morning, the family sees the man's body all torn apart. It looks like it was half-eaten. Julia realizes there must be something more dangerous than the man nearby and decides they need to walk fast. Then they walk a bit more, and Ben goes alone while Julia and Cassie look at the map. Ben then finds dirty salt water, but drinks it anyway. Julia runs to him and makes him stop, warning that he'll get sick. She was right, and Ben soon gets sick. Cassie and Julia make a shelter with plastic chairs they find, and Julia takes care of Ben. That night, everyone sleeps together, but Julia wakes up after hearing something. She goes out and hears the sound of many animals approaching. She quickly wakes the children and they run. Soon they find a ship where there are people looking for food. Julia shouts, asking for help, but the people don't want to help, saying they need to hide from the animals that are coming. They close the containers and hide inside, leaving the family outside. The family then quickly climbs on the container. The animals are crabs and some bite and injure Julia, but the container has a hole underneath, and the crabs start eating all the people inside, even as they try to shoot at them. Julia, injured, covers her wound with a piece of cloth before fainting. In the morning, Julia wakes up alone and looks for her children. A sandstorm hinders visibility, but she finally finds them. They take the guns from the dead people, and Julia cleans her wound using gunpowder and a lighter. Then they find lots of water and food near the containers, along with a radio. Julia uses the radio to talk to Now, saying she's very close, but can't see where he is. He tells her to hurry because his prediction was wrong, and the sea will return in a few hours. Now then releases a flare in the sky. The family spots it and goes in that direction. Cassie asks Julia why she says, "Save my children," when talking to Now, but Julia doesn't answer. After walking for a few hours, they see where Now is, but have to go down a mountain. Walking a bit more, they find a cave where rocks fall and separate Julia from her children. Julia convinces Cassie and Ben to continue walking because she can't climb the rocks due to her injured leg. Besides, she knows the submarine only fits 3 people maximum. Cassie and Ben, shaken, run to the submarine and find Now, who is badly injured. He says he won't survive and asks the two to enter the submarine because the sea will come in a few minutes. Cassie doesn't want to abandon her mother, and since Now won't get in the submarine, she decides to go back to get Julia. Ben gives her his good luck charm. Meanwhile, the crabs get close to Julia and she shoots at them. But there are many more crabs than bullets, and Julia cries desperately. At this moment, Cassie appears on top of the rocks and tells her to climb up because there's room for her in the submarine. Julia can barely get out of the cave, and they run together to the submarine with the crabs in pursuit. Julia arrives and sees Now dead, having lost too much blood. Then everyone enters the submarine and closes the door. Through the window, they see they're surrounded by crabs, but soon the ocean starts to return. They quickly strap themselves in their seats and prepare for impact. The ocean hits the submarine, making it spin, while Julia remembers everything that happened. The sharp sound returns again, making everyone faint. Finally, the waves stop, and when they wake up, they open the door. They arrived in a seaside city that was totally destroyed. A place that was once full of life with busy beaches is now empty, only with seagulls and other birds. Most people, if not all, died, and it will be very difficult to find other survivors since almost nothing works to communicate. Julia and her family now need to help rebuild human life and start over, but it seems there's no one nearby to help. Thus the movie ends, suggesting there would be a continuation. The question that remains is, were the meteors that fell really satellites, or were they alien ships? And what happened to the rest of the people who were on the ground on land? Write your theory and say what grade you'd give this movie. Don't forget to activate the bell to be notified of new summaries. So until the next video.